guys, good morning from Vancouver. I am Jules from Pioneer Playbook, and today I'm going to talk about my top 10 tips for starting a business. For those of you that are new here and wondering who the hell is this girl, why should I listen to her? I started my very first company when I was 16 years old, selling cupcakes from my locker in high school. I grew that company over 10 years, and now I spend my days as a business coach. I run Pioneer Playbook, which is an online training hub and community of women in business all over the world. So let's get right into it. My number one tip, I speak to so many people who are thinking about starting a business and they have ideas and it's going through their head and they're like, oh, I'd love to do that. And they dream and they come up with a million reasons why they shouldn't actually just do it. My number one tip is to just go for it. You need to just decide, I am going to do this, and then you figure out how afterwards. Once you've made that decision, everything else is just a technicality. So my first number one tip ever to everybody who's ever thought about starting a business is to just stop thinking about it and start doing it. My second tip is once you've decided that you're going to start the business, you need to have a plan. You need to figure out how you're going to get from where you are now to where you want to be. You know, you could kind of just fly around aimlessly and figure it out as you go along. It happens, it works sometimes, but the best way is to just figure out a roadmap, you know, and once you figure out your plan step by step of how you're going to get there, it makes everything seem so much less daunting. So start planning. Along those same lines, tip number 3 is to get organized. So this seems really obvious, but I know so many business owners who are so unorganized and it causes chaos for so many reasons. You could end up missing appointments, or you could not be tracking your expenses properly, or maybe you don't realize that you have a customer appointment or you miss an order. You need to be super organized, otherwise it's just gonna come back to bite you, guaranteed. I live out of my iCal. I could not survive without it. When I get really busy, I actually section off my day into like 30-minute blocks and have every single minute of that day scheduled out and what I'm going to do. Maybe I take it a bit far with the level that I organize things, but make sure you have some kind of system in place. You know, if you're doing an online store, make sure you have a system set up for processing your orders. Or if you're offering some kind of service, make sure you have a system set up for keeping your customers' details. Just make sure that you have everything well organized to keep you on track. Number 4 is to use, abuse, and expand your network. So networking can seem scary when you first start out, but it is so important. Especially when you're starting out with your business, it is absolutely essential to network as much as possible. Speak to as many people as you can. When you're at that networking event, make sure you're on a mission to connect with people. There might be so many people there that could help you or your business in some way, but also look for people that you might be able to help. I'm a big believer in the business world that what goes around comes around. You know, if you can help someone with their business or do something in some way that helps their career or helps their situation, then I 100% believe at some point down the line, you never know how, but something's going to come back around, and you never know who might be able to help you. Another tip within that is to go alone. We throw a lot of our own networking events now for women in business, and lots of people message me like, oh, I have no one to come with, I don't want to come by myself. Come by yourself. You will exploit that opportunity so much better if you come alone and then you're forced to speak to people, you're forced to mingle, you're forced to interact and make new connections. Number 5, for some reason this is something that a lot of people don't think about or don't realize, or it doesn't occur to them maybe, I don't know, but you need to embrace the fact that it's gonna be really hard work. I don't know why this doesn't occur to a lot of people, but it's a business, you know, if it were easy, absolutely everyone would be doing it. It is going to be hard work. You're going to have a lot of late nights. Sorry, my cat's in the background. Jasper. It's going to be a lot of late nights, and your social life is going to suffer, and your sleep is going to suffer, and you know, you're going to be doing a lot of ridiculously long days. It's just part of the process that is kind of unavoidable. Usually you're doing something that you love, so it doesn't really matter. But just be prepared for that. Just know that you're gonna have to put in the hours. Number 6 is to understand that you're constantly learning. 10 years in business and I'm still learning new stuff every single day. It's not like a school course where you suddenly, you know, you've completed the course and okay, now you know this thing. You are always picking new things up and you have to keep learning and you have to keep adapting, especially these days with everything new that's happening in the digital marketing world. There's always something new to learn. I was 20 years old when we opened our first shop and there was so much I didn't know about life in general. You know, I had to learn about managing a team, which I hadn't done before. And alongside all the business stuff like finance and HR and marketing and sales, you know, I had to learn all that kind of as I went along anyway. But there were lots of things I didn't think about. Like one afternoon I had to learn about plumbing because our sink broke and it was a weekend and we had 120 people booked in for afternoon tea. You know, there's a lot of things that you don't realize. Sorry. There's a lot of things that you won't realize you need to know until you need to know them. So be prepared that you're just gonna have to keep learning, keep teaching yourself and keep picking things up as you go along. Number 7 is to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. Nobody can be good at everything. You need to figure out where your strengths lie and where your strengths do not lie. Oh my God, Jasper. He was driving me mental, so I had to just get him involved. This is Jasper, by the way. You need to decide where your strengths are and also figure out where your strengths are not. I wasted a lot of time in the past trying to force myself to be good at something that just wasn't my area of expertise, and it just wastes time. You need to get people on board that complement the areas that you're not so good at. So you might be really creative, but you're terrible with numbers. So bring someone on board who's good with numbers. Let him go. You need to focus your efforts on the areas that you excel in. If you're wasting time trying to figure out something that you're not good at, you're not spending that brain space and energy on something where you could be fabulous. So figure out your areas of expertise and delegate the rest. Number 8 is that you need to be really good at prioritizing your time. So this ties in with the being organized part, but it's more of a focus on what you are spending your time on. You might have a to-do list as long as your arm, and there are not enough hours in the day to complete that list. So you need to figure out exactly where you're going to invest your time. As human beings, we'll naturally look at our list and do the things that we want to do first. I know I'm really bad for that as well. Often the things that we want to do are not the things that really need to get done. So be disciplined with yourself and look at your list each day and figure out, okay, this is what really needs to get done today, and put them in order of importance rather than in order of what you feel like doing. Hard to do, I know, but if you can master that, you will be flying. Number 9 is to get the right people on board. If you're just starting out, you may or may not be taking other people on board. Maybe you're just starting out by yourself. That's fine too, but keep this in mind for later on. It's so important to get the right people involved with your business. I have hired so many people over the years, and I've made some great hires, I've made some terrible hires, and everything in between. It's hard to read people, but you need to invest as much time as possible into getting the right people on your team. You want to get people that are as passionate about your brand as you are. People who genuinely want it to thrive. Obviously for the day-to-day running of the business, because you want to know that they're doing a good job, you want to know that you care, but also because on the days when you're struggling, which there will be days like that, please believe me, there will be days like that. On the days when you're struggling, these people lift you up and they breathe life into the business and they remind you why you're doing it. Having that team of people that are genuinely on board with your mission, there is nothing like it. There is no kind of motivation like that. So make sure you're picking the right people to bring in. Number 10 is to always keep the end goal in mind. It can be so easy to get caught up in the details and logistics and the operation side of your business and kind of lose sight of the bigger picture. When you start to lose sight of the bigger picture, that's when things start to fall apart. So always kind of keep in mind where you're trying to go, what the vision is for the company. And in that same token, you want to make sure that you're always working on your business instead of in it. When we opened that first shop, I spent, I don't know how much time standing behind the counter making coffees. And it was great and I loved it and I was happy and I was serving people the beautiful cakes that we'd made and seeing the customers and engaging, and I found that really fun personally. But none of that time was spent on building the actual business. It wasn't spent on bringing in sales or building partnerships or figuring out our next move. It was all just working in the business instead of on it. And that's a trap that's really easy to fall into. So just every now and again, try and remind yourself of that and ask yourself, am I working on the business? And if you're keeping that end vision in mind of where you want the company to go, it'll help you make better decisions, but it's also going to remind you why you're doing it in the first place. So when you have a bad day or it gets tough or you're not sure what you're doing, it kind of just reminds you what it's all for. So those are my top 10 tips for starting a business. Was it helpful? I don't know. If you liked it, please let me know. If you thought it was a load of crap, you can let me know that too. These are just some of the things that I've picked up and I would have found helpful if someone had told them to me at the start, so hopefully they'll help you. If you liked this video, I'd really like to make more stuff like it, so let me know if you want to see more of it. And subscribe to the channel as well. If you have any questions or you want to ask me anything or talk about starting your business or talk about your idea or anything like that, let me know. I want to talk to you. I want to know what your business ideas are. I want to know what stage you're at. I really, really want to hear it. That's what I'm doing now, is kind of supporting people with starting their businesses. So let me know. All right, I'll see you guys really soon with another video. Bye.